Welcome to Disruptive Capitalists, the show where purpose-driven entrepreneurs and bold investors share how they're reshaping the world by investing time and money in a way that improves lives and creates wealth. So let's get to it. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us again for another great episode of the Disruptive Capitalist podcast, where we talk about changing the way that capitalism works and making sure that we make a difference in the world, improve people's lives, and make money at the same time. Because let's face it, money is what enables us to do the things that we really desire to do. And for me and for our guests and for you, that is to create greatness into the world and do what's right. And so today, my guest is a good friend of mine. Thorsten Unger is an entrepreneur and expert in digital knowledge transfer and is involved in various public institutions on a voluntary basis and as an appointed expert. For 4 years, he was managing director of the German Games Industry Association and spokesman for the film and audiovisual media section of the German Cultural Council, the umbrella organization for cultural and creative industry actions in Germany. Thorsten, thank you for joining us today.
It's wonderful to be a guest in your podcast. Thank you.
So where are you located at these days? Where do you live in Germany?
I live in Mönchengladbach. Nobody knows it, I think, in the US. Beside our soccer team, the city is not very well known, but it's close to Cologne. I think you know Cologne.
Yep.
And Düsseldorf. So Western Germany, close to the Dutch border.
Oh, yeah. Fantastic. When I lived in Germany, we went to Cologne, Düsseldorf, and you'd never, two things. One, that cathedral is insanely tall, and you don't realize it till you get there and you look up and you're like, this is incredible. And then we love the zoo there. I know this is kind of silly, but the zoo, like, you can just reach out and touch the animals. None of the American fences and guardrails and protections and everything else. It's just animals are right there, and it was amazing. So we love that area. I love Germany. Love Germany.
Wonderful. So. Yeah. Yes, and it's a nice part because from our part of the country we can access. It's very in the middle of Europe, so with 2 hours of flight, you can reach nearly every spot in Europe. So it's also logistically very interesting. And I moved a little around in Germany. I was in Berlin, for example, for a couple of years when I was very deep in that creative industry, lobbying. But it's my home, and I never expected buying a house 800 meters from my parents' home. So in the end of the day, you start somewhere, you travel around the world more or less, and you come back where you started. So it's little like this. Yeah.
So that's similar to my story. We've been away for 20 something years, my wife and I, and we came back to Texas and we bought a house, and my folks who are in their 70s bought a house in the same neighborhood. So it's the closest I've lived to my folks since I was a little kid. And now I'm in my, I won't say late 40s, but anyhow, yeah, it's...
do you know that feeling if you meet people you did not met for 35, 40 years, maybe something like that, and you imagine, oh, these guys we were hanging around in the playgrounds, and then, now you're sitting here and discuss about your children and what kind of problems they already have in the same manner as we had when we were 15 or something. So it's
wonderful.
Yeah, it's strange. I was on a boat tour this weekend with my neighbors on a small river here in Germany with small boats, and sort of if you asked me 10 years ago if I would do that, I never would say yes. I will be out with my neighbors all around 60 years old, and we go for a weekend trip on a boat on a very small river. So it's life, it happens.
So just for the listeners, if you're thinking Thor's, you went on a boat ride in the river in Germany, and I have to say, one of my wife's and I's favorite things to do was to go on a boat ride down the Rhine and watch from the castles. They would launch off fireworks, and you could sit outside on this upper deck of this little boat. Super inexpensive. You could eat, you could drink, you could enjoy the fireworks blasting off from these castles, like castle, and you just put down and come back, and it is the most splendid, wonderful experience. And so when you say that brings memories, and
we had the same. We had also medieval is very present in Germany, of course, and we have all this. At rivers, you are not able to be on a river with mountains without any castles, so it's self-fulfilling prophecy, and it's fun. Yeah,
it's fun.
Yeah, I really appreciated being on that tour with these guys. Yeah, so it was a nice weekend.
So what are you working on now?
Not that much in common with entrepreneurship. So
yeah, entrepreneurship. I'm an entrepreneur. You're an entrepreneur. That's in fact how we met in Mallorca with a bunch of other entrepreneurs. And tell the audience what you're working on right now.
Right. Actually, I'm a little in the middle. I'm very deep into education. We do projects where we help kids to learn mathematics, for example. We are running platforms for different kind of, let's say, K-12 school materials. What we do is we work for museums. We design interactive spaces in museums where you can experience heritage, history, stuff like that. And I'm working on a project right now where we do find a way how to merge a lot of small investors into some kind of an investment hub. And I'm very after it creating something new right now also. Yeah, I'm looking on the right and left side what could be interesting for me as my next endeavor. Yeah, so it's an interesting time. Yeah, if you ask me 1 year in front in the future, I would tell you maybe something different. But right now, that's more or less the situation.
Yeah, so, sounds very like ours. So you're essentially, are you syndicating projects by bringing in a bunch of investors to acquire or buy, or tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, actually, the idea is right now we do see, let's say, we are in a region which has been the center of the land mining industry. We had huge land mines here. The coal industry is very present in that region. And these landmines, there was a decision from the government in Germany. You might also follow that up in the US, that we step out of coal energy production. And I'm in the middle of that, and I help the Association of the State right now to create concepts how this could look like when in 2030 they will stop this land mining, and we have a lot of space, and we'll have a lot of funds from the government, and how to fill this up. And I'm in a think tank where we are working on concepts, what could be done in this space. And that's an interesting approach, because of course we see, let's say, artificial intelligence, education, e-health, all kind of, let's say, new technologies which are, let's say, representing the future. Also sustainability, of course, in some way. And what we do is we want to combine venture capital with public funds and with entrepreneurship and family offices and stuff. Yeah, because we see, of course, that also, let's say, the established people here, which founded companies, let's say 150 years ago, family business, that they have some kind of a, let's say, also, let's say, some kind of the need to, or not the need, but maybe the responsibility to invest into the future, because it's our society, it's our land, it's our region, something like that. So that's really interesting. So there's another guy we both know called Peter Hobson. He did something similar in Sheffield in UK, and we have a lot of exchange, and he's coming next week to us, and he will explain his concept he has in Sheffield right now, and we are thinking of, okay, it could be an interesting approach. Yeah, he has something. He already designed something similar in Sheffield, where we found 220 members in the meantime, and I think they invested into a two-digit mid-size number of companies already, and yeah, that's interesting, and that's something which really drives me right now, and could be a project. Yes,
absolutely. So what? I don't know if you're at liberty to say where are you guys leaning as you convert from coal? Are you leaning towards gas turbines, or water, or air, or solar, or something completely different?
we have a guy who we had. That's a little critical to discuss in a podcast, because everybody has his perspective on it. The German government decided two things, which might be, from the perspective of the US, a little crazy, and I think they are not really completely wrong with that. So we stepped out of nuclear energy because of Fukushima. And we stepped out of coal energy. We were very related to Russian gas and oil. And so by this, the last government we had was invested a lot of efforts into solar energy and to wind energy. Right now we are, let's say, heading to 30 to 40% in normal days, or even more, which is coming from renewables already. Even it could be more in summer months. It's even more, but of course you have a problem with that because the sun does not always shine, the wind does not always has a, let's say, a high speed. So at a certain point you have to find other solutions, and they are working on that. So, but it's a risky path. If you look into Germany, also you have in mind that we had a very strong steel industry, a very strong metal industry, automotive industry, and stuff like that. And these are all very, let's say, energy intensive industries. So it's a risky business what they do here right now, and we hope the best, and let's see how this works out. But there's no way back to nuclear energy. We have not the infrastructure for that. We have no uranium, nothing, and let's say what the Russians do is obvious. So it's not very intelligent to work with these guys as well. So we find solutions with LPGs and stuff, but at the end of the day, it's energy is very expensive these days in Germany. So to say, so renewables. Are they the solution for everything? Could be. I don't guess so, but it's not my decision.
I think the answer that nobody wants to hear is nuclear is clearly the easiest path to independence, to clean energy forever. But the fear of Fukushima happening again is I don't know how old that reactor was, 50 years old. Technology has come a long, long way since then. I know in the circles that I'm in with, and good friends that run a power company that just got considerably, I think they just raised a little over $1 billion, but they're focused on clean energy. And one of the two things that they talk a lot about for the future is these micro nuke processors, power plants, and really getting, each little community on its own power system and off of a larger grid. The larger grid is strained, it's old, and these microgrids are kind of where they're focused, which is where, we started was microgrids, and then we try to connect everything, and it's caused a lot of issues. So that's kind of where they're at. They're looking at thermo power, and then if the community's large enough, waste, burning trash in a hyper efficient way, and so that there's not pollution. At least that's what they say. I don't know, but it's interesting.
Germany, we never found a place where to put the waste. There were so many discussions, and they did not find any proper solution for that. And the uranium is a problem. And of course, I'm kind of let's say, from my point of view, misleaded economic politics that we do not have even the technology. We had Siemens, which were one of the market leading companies for nuclear plants. They sold everything to China, I think, something like that. I'm not sure about that. If you want to research it, could be wrong, but. Right now Germany does have nothing. We have still some resources working on research. Germany was always, let's say, the country of the thinkers. We invented so many things. But in the 90s and the 2000s, we sold also very important technologies out. And right now we are in a very weak position regarding nuclear energy, and it's very unpopular in Germany. We would start not from scratch, but we do not have access to uranium. We do not have any place to put the waste to. So it would be a long way back. I have some contacts in Sweden. They are also in this micro nuclear plant thing. They want to build 20 to 30, I think, new plants with this micro plants, and I think that could be a future. They have let's say, environment there. They can put it in the north where it's cold, and dark. I have no idea, but in Germany, it's a very unpopular discussion. We want to come to a CO2 neutral country. We want to get to a circular economy, zero waste. Yeah, in the end of the day, the bill it still must generate profit. That's my concern. If we are too expensive in everything, the economic growth is now already, let's say, for the last 3 to 4 years, very low, and the perspective right now is also not very, let's say, optimistic. Yeah, but see, let's see. I don't want to be too negative. It also depends on the sectors. Germany was little sleeping the last 20 years. So infrastructure is down, everything. And if everything is down, you have a good chance as an entrepreneur, because either you refurbish everything and you get the things going, or you have to resign. And I think a capitulation is not an option. Yeah, and that's how it is right now here. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, it's interesting. The power question has really been forced upon us, and as entrepreneurs, as connected individuals who desire to solve big, complicated problems. That's, to me, that's the disruption of capitalism. Like, you could be doing something right now just to make a buck, right? And if your whole goal was to maximize revenue, then you would not be working in clean energy. You would be doing something different. But because you want to make a difference in the world, because you want to improve society and improve your country, because you're right, Germany has been well known for invention, creation, engineering, design. Many of the world's greatest inventions have come from Germans or Germany. Einstein was a German. It's just like all these, brilliant things have come from there, and um, it's
It could be positive still. Yeah, we have in this region here, we have thousands of researchers, thousands. We have the RWTH University in Aachen, which is one of the best universities in the world. Still, we have a lot of, let's say, power in this German research system with Helmholtz Society, with Fraunhofer, and they are all here. In my region, Microsoft just announced that they are investing here some $1 billion in that region for hyper-threading artificial intelligence calculation systems. That's what happens also. Yeah, what this is not. It's not everything is negative. Maybe you have a first mover advantage if you set on, let's say, horses where not too many people bet on. Let's see. Yeah, it's a crazy time from my perspective. I was in Dallas also in February, in January, and we will speak to people from the US. Yeah, of course, you have a different perspective on some things, but it's really interesting. Let's see how this works out. Yeah, from my point of view, for example, people in my network are working on small gas generators, working with wood and everything, like in a very efficient way. Yeah, it's also interesting. And if you do not have any pressure, yeah, regarding energy production, there's not that much invention. Yeah, and that is something which I think is good. Yeah, that we shrink some things which might be natural to use, but we don't use them, so we have to find interesting other ideas. And I think we lost, for example, a lot of let's say attraction regarding solar energy in the 80s. We were one of the market leading inventors in solar energy, and that was all sold to China and India and stuff like that. But in the meantime, I think we are heavily getting pace on solar energy production because of the pressure we have. Yeah, so if you have pressure, you are inventing. It's natural. That's humans. They always have to find solutions. Yeah. So I'm not that negative. I see a lot of power right now going on, and a lot of people want to change something. And at the end of the day, time will tell. That's how it is. Yeah.
That's how it is. And like necessity is the mother of all invention, right? You don't invent something until you need it. And when you need it,
That's
that's when
correct.
you invent something, right?
Yeah, that's correct. And let's see, the automotive industry is an interesting case, for example. I think we all have to be very aware of what the Chinese people are doing right now. Also, the US, I think it's also not like that Tesla is ruling the world in electric mobility. We all were afraid of them, but I think everybody's more afraid now about China. So also what regarding automotive driving, and it is what it is. Yeah, we have to. That's a good thing on capitalism, that concurrent situations gives you the need of being the best, and that is a pressure you have to invent and get better and better and better, and let's see, yeah, how this will work out. It's very interesting times, not always positive. Yeah, if you see what autocrats are around the world right now, trying to, we all were a little nervous, I think, when we saw the parade in Peking, where Kim Jong-un and Putin and Xi were standing and declared that they want to set up a new world order. That's crazy in some way, because I think they do have different values than we have. But maybe, yeah, let's see.
It's crazy, but Americans are way more focused on what Trump had for dinner or what he said someplace than they are on the world, on the world stage or what's happening around them. I think, we've entered this incredible age of just nonstop sensationalism and clickbait and fake news, and the things around the world they're starting to shut their mind off to. And for those of us who have traveled extensively, like myself, yourself, the people who are plugged into the world stage. I remember working in DC for state and USAID, and like the world stage was what we were focused on. And the current administration is, I mean, uh, whether you wanted it to happen or not, they effectually destroyed a lot of relationships and closed off a lot of involvement in the world stage. And as we isolate a little bit, that makes us non-players and non-influencers. And if we aren't influencing the outcomes for positive, then we can't complain when we get a negative response in 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years from now. And like you were saying, beginning, in the 90s, we shut off, Germany shut down and got sleepy. And America did too, in regards to our infrastructure, our electrical infrastructure, and now we're paying the price. So the stuff that we're doing now, we're going to pay the price for in 10 or 15 or 20 years, and we'll blame somebody else for it. But it's really because of the activities that we're doing right now.
I would say if we should be on our values. Yeah, values are the most important thing. We should believe in God. We should believe in relations, and we should believe in transaction between us and be reliable. That's, I think, very important. I would not like to imagine to live in a world where the word is worth nothing, and if the freedom of speech. There are a lot of topics and which are very important, and this is where we share values, and I'm positive. I must be positive. This, I don't want to be too political. I see, of course, also as a reaction of the changing things in the world, that the Europeans are sticking together. Yeah, that's something good. Yeah, let's see. And I'm very positive because I like the US. I'm 2 times a year something. I'm in the US, and I know a lot of people there as well. From New York to Utah and California, and then also in Dallas and Texas. I think one advantage of being an entrepreneur and being a well-connected person is that you really know people, yeah, and you see the cultures and the differences, and it's also same with Singapore or Vietnam or also other countries. If you get to know these people, you have an idea what it is, and that's something good, yeah. And then it comes maybe to my major topic, which is education. I think, in my point of view, it's very necessary that people accept that they have to learn their whole life. Yeah, and that they have to prepare, and that critical thinking, for example, is something very important. Yeah, and you should not believe in AI, for example. Yeah, because if you are not able to measure the information an AI does present to you, you're not able to judge if this is correct or not. It's very, very necessary. I have 2 kids. And what I teach them is not to believe; they have to understand. Yeah, they
Yeah.
should believe. Yeah, in values and in God and whatever. But if someone gives an information, they must judge: is that information correct or not? And that's in the end of the day. That's why I'm very deep in education, and my main focus as an entrepreneur is education. Is that I want to help people to understand. Yeah, that because dull and dumb people are easy to control, and that is maybe something I want to prevent. And that is maybe my contribution to the society, that I help people to learn something. And that's maybe something. If we are talking about values, my value is I'm human centric. I believe in people, and I want, and if I can, let's say, help them a little. I support an initiative here in Mönchengladbach where we give poor people hardware, computers. We delivered the 1,000 hardware unit this weekend to poor people in my home city. Because if they do not have access to technology, if they cannot use this media, they cannot learn with this kind of media and kind of tools, and we want to help them to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's something we're really focused on now is democratizing access to resources. And the way that we do that is we have a software solution coming out here pretty soon, the Personal Success Companion. And every single person can get access to, a roadmap to their success, what to do next, which is not available in the marketplace, and it's not what Mark Zuckerberg or anybody else is building. They may be building personalized AIs, but it's not focused on your success. It's not focused on knowing who you are and helping you with your issues and problems. And that's what we filed 111 patents around this. We are keeping it very free or very, very inexpensive, depending on what tier you want to be. But most people, it'll be free, the vast majority of people. And it's like, how do we help the human race? Well, you have to help every single person individually. And that's the only way that we get there. Because you're right. Like, it's easy to control dumb people. If you're focused on clickbait media, then you're just going to follow whatever nonsense gets thrown at you. And I mean, this is how Instagram and the others have learned TikTok. It doesn't need to be true. It doesn't need to be accurate. It doesn't need to be right. All it needs to be is clickable. And if it's clickable, that's all
And it's
that
fun,
matters. And that's
entertaining.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the
But
capitalism we're trying to disrupt, right? Is like, we can make plenty of money, but we can be good humans at the same time.
Sam, do me a favor. Please give me, after this episode, a link to your tool, and let's have a chat about that, because it's very important. What we do with these gamified projects, we help people to understand themselves. Yeah, because also in this playful learning space, you have to interact with a system, and of course you can analyze easily what kind of, let's say, how people are using it. We can design patterns. We learning analytics. We are right now doing a project for dyscalculia in the mathematics space, where we let people really find out what is their individual pattern on dyscalculia. It's not like you have dyscalculia. It's never, let's say, 100% dyscalculia that he does not know anything. We have to really find patterns that we can make them much better offers, where they have to improve. And I do like that a lot. I also, let's say, I'm working very hard on myself. I lost super to say that in a podcast, but I lost 20 kilos in weight in the last 6 months, working every day very hard to optimize myself. And one thing I found out is mindfulness. Yeah, that you have to be very aware of yourself, that you have to very with you, that you hear into yourself. Where are you? What is the next? What does really work in yourself? And how can you prevent yourself from making mistakes by just listening to yourself and really hear what's wrong with you? Not only working, running after the next big thing, but really stepping back and think of, okay, is it correct? Should I do that? Do I have all the information to make a good decision? And once you have a software tool, as you mentioned, where you really find a way to visualize where you are and what are the options, I think that's something very good. And making good decisions does also mean that you have to judge about the options you have, and you must measure them. You must find out what are the effects if you do that and that. And this is what I love. Yeah, I want to help people to make better decisions, and they can only do better decisions if they know what they are talking about. Yeah. I'm very into financial education. Yeah, because if people are not able to, let's say, manage their funds, it's a problem. Yeah, and it could be a good business for some people who are, let's say, lending money, but in the end of the day, the productivity is not very given if people are spending 85% of their income in bullshit. Yeah, so we have to help them that they have an income and they can create wealth even if they have low incomes. So and that they find out, okay, if I do that and make this decision, it will not end up in a good way. Yeah, and that's why I love to spend time working on topics like that.
Great. Thors, it's been, I love it as well. We've talked quite a bit about this. I know we could talk quite a bit more about this. It's going to take a lot of great brains like yours and others to think through these very complicated issues and then connect experts who can help us better understand, and then some people who have that vision, the understanding of how do we solve these big issues, and can this happen, and can we effectuate the change that we desire? And if so, how do we get there? Because we're in these crises right now. We're in a crisis of faith. We're in a crisis of morality. We're in a crisis of energy, data, ethics. Now with AI, we got a whole new set of ethical concerns. I saw a recent post from Claude saying that they specifically restrict anybody from building chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, or energy weapons using Claude. I was like, that just came out. That's interesting. And so it's like, most of us are just like, why would anybody want to do that? But there's people out there who would love to do that and cause and inflict pain and harm, or just do it and make a buck, and we've got all these ethical concerns, and how do we protect humanity, and how do we provide for humanity, and poverty is growing instead of,
Something which also, let's say, drives me to concepts like Peter is doing in Sheffield. Yeah, this it could not be the mission for very rich people that the mass of people gets poorer and poorer. It could not be the concept, because if once you are very rich and you have only poor people around you, there's also a society not worth living.
No.
Yeah, and that's maybe naive. Yeah, if I talk, we are in the same learning community where we met. If you talk to some of these people, they say, "Oh, Thorsten, you're still in Germany. Why are you in Germany? You go to Switzerland, go to other countries where you pay less taxes, where you have better, let's say, access to venture capital." Okay, sorry to say, but the capital is coming from the betting industry or something. I don't want to blame these people, yeah, but there's money around where I would say it's not the best idea to take it. Yeah, because it's morally complex. Yeah, blood diamonds, whatever. Yeah, so I don't want to be, let's say, and I don't want to explain myself as a moral institution, but if you have values, you can't do that 100%. Yeah, you have always have to think of what kind of society do we want to live in? Do we only want to have guarded housing? I don't think so. Yeah, it's not, let's say, a place, and there's one aspect on that which really drives me. I'm a father of two, and I'm 52 right now, which is interesting. Yeah. So my let's say I lived, let's say, two of a third of my life, maybe a little less, hopefully. Yeah. But I do everything I do, more or less. We do it for the next generation. And then you have decision makers around the world in the let's say late 70s, for early 80s, making decisions. To be frankly, in 20 years they will not be affected about the results of this, and that is a problem in some way. So we have to be very wisely, and that drives me a little. Yeah, if I do make decisions which affect the planet in 30 years, I'm in my 80s. Okay, thank God I would reach this. But in the end of the day, we have to be very careful. The decision makers of these days do not have always to live with the results of the decisions they make, and that's. I have a mission for my kids. I always say, if my son is turning 17 in 2 weeks. And my mission was and is there must be, let's say, valuable people with a high grade of morality when they turn 18. And I'm very happy. I think I will make it with my 2 kids. But it's not. We could not look on our own yard. You have to look what is the consequences of our behavior. And that doesn't mean we need a society. We need an education system. We need a health system which is affordable. Stuff like that. Yeah, because we are human beings. It could not be the case if no. That's very political, to be honest. Yeah, if someone has cancer, he should get medicine for it.
Yeah.
He should have access to it. Yeah, she should not. From my point of view, as a human being, also as a Christian, these people should not die because they have no access to medicines. It's cool. It's true. Yeah, and in some countries, it's hard to afford. Yeah, and hard. Yeah,
hard. It's impossible, and that's it's our focus. Our focus, my focus, been for a long time is how do you help these people get out of poverty, and how do you bring that.
I found this very interesting. You did that speech on Mallorca on the conference, and I discussed it with my wife at dinner an hour ago, and I said, that's absolutely fantastic. Yeah, because you are contributing that people have a fair chance to get out of their poorness, poverty.
I met, and I know we're going long here, but I met a guy. So a friend of ours invited us over to an event, and it was hosted by a billionaire down in Miami. And self-made guy, grew up in the slums, got himself out, became very, very, very wealthy. Worth, according to the value of his company, is worth, $5 or $6 billion. And we're in his house, and at this event, and one of his buddies is pitching a system to us that is the exact opposite of what we do. You mentioned like money. You say no to money. Their goal was to get the lottery on every single person's phone so that every person could bet on the lottery from their phone. And they would make a nickel per transaction on every single person losing their money in the lottery. And I just thought, you are the exact opposite of me. You're trying to earn money off of poor people. We're trying to help poor people, giving it to them for free and creating a path for them to success. And he, was interested in our system, and I said no. And, he said, "Oh, that would make so much money." I'm like, "No, I'm not interested. I'm not." Like, there is no path to us working together. You're the exact opposite. I wouldn't take your money if it was the last money on the earth. Like, we will go figure this out. It's just such an interesting thing, and we need more people like you, Thor. We need more people like, who are willing to do what it takes, ethically, honestly, with integrity, regardless of all the hardships and everything else, to make the world a better place.
The reasons that's mentioning that this on a podcast is a little bit complex, but one of the reasons why I stepped back as being the CEO of the German Game Developer Association, the game industry in Germany, was that free-to-play business model in video games. I'm not sure if you're aware of that, but the system is you play for free, but if you want to have an advantage in the game, it's called pay to win. It's very crazy, and the system, it is okay for me if you want to have an advantage that you pay small amounts of money. But the problem with this concept is that the games industry does exactly know how to manipulate people, that they play and play and play and play and play. And if you want to have an advantage, and it's some kind of a game where you measure yourself with other players, and you can only win if you spend a lot of money. It's from my point of view, a little creepy. Yeah, and I don't want to be part of that industry at that stage. I know how the power of gaming. Yeah, it's very very powerful, and I use game technologies to transport knowledge. That's very nice. Yeah, we have young people playing, learning mathematics and physics and stuff like that. But if you use all this knowledge these people have regarding the behavior of human beings in order to fill up their pockets, even if the players do not have the funds, and you have to go by lawyers to hunt them, and that they pay for, yeah, if they, for example, for that kids are buying a lot of these items in video games and the parents have to pay for it, yeah, and then they go after that. If they go after it, I'm out, because they cannot measure, is this guy able to pay all of this or not. And if the business model of a games company is basing on maximum profit out of single users, and they know that people play because of this let's say self esteem, the self recognition in groups, being the best, and then it comes to a point where it's a little ridiculous. And that was one of the reasons when I found out that the industry is very not after that. I sort of, do I want to be a part of it, of an industry which is scissoring people, not paying for video game content inside, and they know exactly that these people cannot afford it. People can do that, but it was not my party. I sort of know that then it's time to do something else. I'm still very close with the video game industry, and I think the industry changed. But in the early 2010s, this was a very involving business model, and you can do that, but it's not my party. Yeah, and it's not like that anymore. I think there's still some business models which are, this whole casino industry, for example, is also crazy. Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
let's be not let's not to judge too much on that topics. It's my point of view, so I do something else. It's very simple. It's
very simple.
Games industry. Yeah, it's simple at that stage. Yeah.
Thorsten, it's been an absolute pleasure. I know we could talk about this for a long time, and I'm sure we will. We'll have more time together to talk as we continue to have a relationship. Those folks who have listened to this, who would love to reach out to you or learn more about what you're working on, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Well, I think LinkedIn could be a good option. Yeah. I'm not promoting myself that much in the last years, but if someone wants to reach out to me, you're very welcome, and drop me a line on LinkedIn. I stopped using X, for example, so I'm got a little bit silent around social media, but maybe this changes also. But if you want to drop me a line, just add me on LinkedIn, and yeah, I'm happy to discuss. And yeah, it's a pleasure.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Thor. Thank you for being on the pod. Thank you for the great conversation. And to our viewers, hopefully you felt inspired to go do something better, improve the world, and solve just really difficult problems, and innovate and invent. And thank you all for joining us today. If this episode shifted your thinking, then share it with someone bold. And remember, capital is a tool. Use it to build a world you are proud to live in.